what's up? It's Clover. Welcome back to my channel. Today, even though it's 2021 now, I still want to do a post on my November 2020 spending report, which I haven't done yet. That's because I took a break in November and December 2020 because 2020 was a really hard year. So I decided to take some time for myself, but I still kind of want to produce the content that I was producing. And I am a little bit of a perfectionist in that I like to see all of my spending reports all in one place. So I don't want to skip any because then that will bother me for the rest of my life. So that is why you are getting a November 2020 spending report in January or February 2021, even though I am actually making this in December 2020. Now, if that's not enough numbers to confuse you and to dislike this video, please don't dislike this video. Go ahead and like the video instead, and we'll get going. Okay, I know I say this pretty much every spending report, but November 2020 was a super expensive month, and that's for several reasons. So first, I actually had 3 pay periods in November, so actually my spending report is really from like October 23rd to like December 4th. So it's a really long time frame, and that means I paid rent twice, I paid my student loans twice, and everything else was just like 3 times what it usually is, or really 2 times, or a time and a half, because usually my spending reports are just 2 pay periods, but it didn't make sense for me to include the last or one of the pay periods in October, and it didn't really make sense for me to include one in December. So one of the months had to give, and November was the month that had to give. So that kind of automatically increases my budget right off the bat, or the amount of money that it looks like I spent in this November 2020 spending report. Besides that, there were a lot of special occasions that happened. So my mom's birthday happened where we did some extra special things when we still could. My boyfriend's birthday is December 4th, so I bought the presents in this previous month. I also spent a lot of money on Christmas shopping. So since I haven't really been able to spend any money on travel this year, I just kind of went a little bit overboard in Christmas spending, and plus having a significant other increases my expenses in Christmas spending and birthday spending. So that happened, and then in addition to that, I made a capital contribution to my Clover LLC official business bank account, and so that's where that $700 went. I also spent a lot of money on supplements for sleep and for my brain. I will talk a little bit more about that. And then, as I said a couple of times, I kind of expanded my entertainment, personal, and just general budget for the last 2 months of the year because I've done a really good job for 2 years, and as the holidays approach, I just wanted to take a little break and not have to worry so much about what I'm spending money on. So I kind of like loosened the reins a little bit, and allowed myself to spend a little bit more. So you'll see my entertainment budget's a little bit higher. It's not that much higher. And I also spent some money on a car rental for a last minute trip to my hometown to see my sister who was going through some stuff. So those expenses were all in November. Is that enough excuses? I feel like that's enough excuses, right? I mean, like I said, I am just kind of taking a break from being too crazy at the end of the year in 2020 so that I can hit the ground running in 2021 and be refreshed not only mentally and physically, but also financially. Okay, so let's first look at my categories. So groceries a little bit expensive. It was $481 for 3 weeks, or 3 pay periods, so 6 weeks. And that's mostly because Thanksgiving came out of this. So I spent a lot of money on Thanksgiving, even though I was just making dinner for my boyfriend and his cousin. It's expensive. I went all out. Clover is expensive because of that capital contribution. Health medical was super expensive because I spent so much money on supplements. And the reason is, so have you ever had a problem where you've been dealing with it for so long that eventually you just wake up one day and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to throw a bunch of money at this until I solve this issue. That is sleep for me, and a little bit anxiety. So in 2020, my anxiety has evolved to where I often feel this like clenched feeling on my heart. And as you know, if you've been following Clover for a while, I've pretty much always struggled with sleep. And so my first tactic was to go to a psychiatrist and see what the deal is and see how I can handle it. And the first psychiatrist I went to, I told him about my symptoms, and he decided, well, let's try and treat the sleep issue before we treat the anxiety issue, because if we treat the sleep issue, the anxiety issue might go away. And I was like, okay, that sounds reasonable. So he prescribed me trazodone, which knocked me out. It was great, but it increased my anxiety like by a ton. So, and on top of it, I got really bad trazodone hangovers the next day, where I'd have a headache from the time I woke up until pretty much the time I went to bed. So not exactly worth it. So then I got a second opinion, and he prescribed me something else. And as soon as I looked up the drug, all I saw were reviews of people talking about how they'd gained like 30 pounds within a month or two of taking the pill. And I am somebody who has struggled with eating disorders and body image in the past. So even though I'm human, or really, even though I am totally a believer in body positivity and totally believe in, you know, you are not your weight, and like, you know, F the extra weight gain, I immediately felt anxious at the idea of gaining 30 pounds. And yes, I'm body positive, but at the same time, I'm human, and it just, you know, naturally, it just made me freak out. So I was like, you know what? It freaked me out enough to think, well, what if I just double down on my efforts for natural therapies? And so I decided to buy pretty much every supplement under the sun for sleep. Not really, but I did buy some Ollie vitamins that have melatonin and lemon balm and lavender in them to try those out. And then I also purchased some supplements from Primal Harvest. Jury is still out on if either of them are worth it. But I started to do that, and I'm also focusing on like increasing my meditation and improving my sleep hygiene again. So that's what happened with my health and medical. And then in addition to that, I also have chronic back pain caused by chronic pinched nerves. So often I'll get a pinched nerve like right here, and it'll make it really difficult for me to like turn my head or really move at all. And usually I'll only get them like a few times a year, but lately, for some reason, I've been getting them like a couple times a month, which is really bad. And sometimes they're so bad that I like can't move. So I decided to spend some money on some heating pads and some like heat strips to help and prevent any immobility in the future. So that's health and medical. My home, that was just 2 rent payments. Transportation was increased because I rented that car. Personal is increased too, and I don't really have a very good excuse for that. We'll talk about more of it in the spending report, but I guess it's not so bad over the course of 6 weeks. But I just, off the top of my head, I can't really think of what that was for. I think it was plant stuff, but I guess we'll see. Entertainment was high, $377, which again, it's a lot, but a lot of it was from booze and eating out and doing things like that. But like I said in the October one, I'm just not that concerned about spending money on entertainment right now, especially in these last 2 months of 2020, because I want to enjoy it, and I also just don't want to worry too much about it. And it's been nice to kind of like loosen the reins a little bit. Utility cell phone, same, $248. Special occasion, that's all of my spending for Christmas and my boyfriend's birthday and a few other things. Debt, same. Dating, $181. I actually, since I was cooking dinner for my boyfriend, I looped some of the expenses for Thanksgiving into that. And gosh, what else did we do? I don't know. We'll get to it in a second. So yeah, I mean, I didn't spend... for dating, I don't really know where a lot of that went. So there was Halloween and there was Thanksgiving within this period time frame. So I spent money on Halloween, like getting candy for kids to pass it out, and obviously some of those expenses for Thanksgiving. And I also bought some crafting supplies. My boyfriend and I have been getting into crafting because there's just not a whole lot else to do. So that's where a lot of that came from. And then we did get poke a few times, which is my boyfriend's new obsession. So you know, it is what it is. A lot of eating out. Nothing super exciting on parking, $69, so I had to renew my parking permit here in Oak Park, which is just such a pain in the butt. And then a donation, as well as renter's insurance. As I mentioned in my October spending report, I do have a new category for emergency funds. So I saved $2,000 last month straight into the emergency fund, which is great because now I have enough emergency fund to cover at least 4 months of expenses. And then Amazon Prime came out last month too. Okay, so let's look at what I actually spent money on. And this is going to be great because we're actually going to go through my spending report. So let's see. First, I've got my mom's birthday, spent $130 on. That was we went to Crafted, which was a bar is a bar in Peoria that allows you to craft at it. And we went as a family. I paid for my mom's and I paid for myself. I think it was like $30 each, and then I paid for drinks for my mom and myself and my boyfriend. I spent $75 on Instacart, which I've decided I need to stop ordering on Instacart because it's expensive. Have you ever gotten your Instacart receipt? Like they actually accidentally leave the receipt in the bag, and then you see what the actual total was versus like what you paid. It's really bad. Like, I get it. It's good, especially if you're like a high risk person or you don't feel comfortable going into grocery stores. But it's so much more expensive. Like I feel like I should be just going into the grocery stores, but we'll see if I actually do it or not. So, okay, I got face shavers because my hair and I spent money on student loans. Rogaine because I put Rogaine in these spots like right here. I have some hair loss there. It's just like one of the things that happens when you get older, so I started doing some Rogaine in those spots so that I don't go bald. Jewel, $25. Poke, $25. This is embarrassing. You're going to see it twice. Aldi, $50 on groceries. Halloween candy, $17. Poke again, $36. And we ordered it on Grubhub, so we were extra bougie. $12 for G Suite for Clover. That's normal. $14.19 for my rent. Nicor, $24. Biden campaign. Tea, wine. There's a lot of wine and booze in this one. Like, tis the season. Tis the season. So there's my first transfer into the emergency fund, $1,700. And I got boots. That's why the personal was high. So I got $116 on some Timberland boots, which I actually got them because we were supposed to be going on a trip to Arizona and I needed some decent hiking boots that were also kind of wintry. And these were perfect, but we didn't end up going and I'm keeping I'm keeping the boots because they're adorable. So, plus maybe we'll go in the future and then I'll still have them. But besides that, more wine and Starbucks. It was the election week. I got groceries for $50, wine and snacks, more booze. Aldi, $63, $700 capital contribution to Clover. Sprint, so $101 on Sprint. That's my monthly cell phone payment, but that's actually going to go down because I paid off my phone. I did this stupid thing where I leased my phone, and then when you have the option to purchase the phone, instead of purchasing the phone, I just kept leasing the phone for like a year, which means I way overpaid for the phone that I have. But finally the lease is up, so that's going to go down to like $60 a month, which is really nice. So that's happening. I paid $12 for the Trazodone, $50 at the Asian market, which was a night that we made dumplings. So I bought a bunch of stuff at the Asian market. The Asian market's like kryptonite for me. I love Asian food and I love all the weird little snacks. And there's this great one in Chicago that I don't get to go to that often because I don't live close to it anymore, but I used to live really close to it when I lived in Logan Square. And it's just got all the greatest things, like anything red bean flavor, anything mochi related, anything with like that glutinous rice deliciousness. It's my kryptonite, man. Okay, more groceries at Aldi. I bought my boyfriend a TV stand for his birthday, so that was $145. Renter's insurance, Christmas gifts. There's a lot of Christmas gifts in this. $45 on groceries, more snacks. There's so many snacks and booze. I just, it is what it is. Wrapping paper, ComEd, car rental, dinner with my sister once I arrived. plants. I had a couple of drinks of wine and then I online purchased a bunch of plants. But I had that cash back from Rakuten that I just applied towards the purchase. So I didn't actually spend $50. I only spent $25. So if you don't have Rakuten, I highly recommend it because it actually got me an extra discount on my Timberland boots, which is nice. So I use a credit card that gives me 1.5% cash back, and Rakuten gave me another 1% cash back. So I got 2.5% cash back on those boots, which, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up. So it's nice. And I'll leave a link to Rakuten down below if it's something that you want to sign up for. The link will give you $20 and me $20. It'll give you $20 after you spend $20. So that's how it works. But if you want to support the channel, use that link and use Rakuten. I love it because it's always a nice surprise. And Rakuten will, this isn't sponsored by Rakuten, by the way. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But anytime you go shopping online, if it's it won't do it on Amazon, but if you go to Famous Footwear, it'll pop up a hey, you can get cash back here because the site offers Rakuten users cash back. And then all you do is click OK, and then a couple months later, you get a PayPal from Rakuten, and it's bam, you got extra money. So anyway, I highly recommend them. I like them. Anyway, so bought some plants, bought some Panera for my mom, and some ingredients for my family for dinner. And then more beer and Prosecco, ComEd, another transfer to the emergency fund. This one was only $3,000, but that's how I got or $300. Gas, ingredients, crafting supplies, because me and my boyfriend are now crafters, Beachbody program, and book for book club. We are currently reading Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. What else? Heating pad and strips, $50 or $86. Christmas gifts some more, and those sleep supplements that I got suckered into buying. And let's keep going. We're almost done, I promise. $100 on Thanksgiving groceries, another $15 on Thanksgiving for groceries, $29 from Binny's. I made Bloody Marys. It was great. More crafting. I don't know what to say to that. Socks, smoothie, Jewel, and the Amazon Prime, student loans, brain supplements. So I had to order some vitamins. I got some vitamin B and this brain booster that's supposed to help with clarity and cognition and all that stuff. Again, jury's out on whether or not it works. But I'm just it's one of those things where I just keep throwing money at trying to get rid of my brain fog and trying to, just feel better. So like I said, jury's out on whether or not they work. I kind of believe they probably don't work. But I also wanted to elevate the other every day, so I bought myself a little frother that you can stick in your milk and it'll froth it up so it kind of feels like you're having a latte. And then G Suite again, Nicor again, and Rent again. So, that's my whole spending report. Okay, now here's the fun part. So, total spent in November 2020 was $10,000, but if you subtract the contributions to Badet as well as my contributions to my emergency fund, I actually spent about $6,800. My after-tax income that I saved was about 20%, and then I spent about 13% on debt. And I just, in general, spent on everyday living expenses and Christmas and stuff 66%. So that means I'm living off of 66% of my after-tax income, which isn't too bad. I would like that to be closer to 50%, just because I like to save more, but I recognize that it's a more expensive time of the year. So in terms of savings and debt, there are some great numbers here. So I now have $11,000 in my cash savings, which is my emergency fund. I have a real estate investment for $43,900, which actually renewed in December, but I won't share with you those numbers until the December spending report comes out. And then my 401k really bumped up, and it's at $69,300, which brings my total savings to $124,000. And that means my total debt is $29,875, which means that my net worth is at $94,000. $94,000. Just like to remind you, in October 2018, I had a negative $67,000 net worth. which is just a little over 2 years ago. That's freaking dope. That's pretty cool. So I'm really excited about that. I am not going to go over goals because it's already past that time by the time you're watching this video. But, like I said, I am just enjoying the rest of 2020 and chilling a little bit. But let me know how you are handling your money in 2021. And if I had anything that you need clarification on, or you have any questions, or you want me to do a video on, let me know in the comments. And if you have gotten this far and you haven't liked this video, do me a favor and hit that like button and also hit subscribe. So thanks for watching.